Welcome back to the S&T Football Podcast. I am your man, Say. I'm here with my man, Tom. And today we have a very exciting Big Ten matchup coming up this Saturday. We have the game, the Ohio State Buckeyes, number one team in the country, going on the road to Ann Arbor to take on the Michigan Wolverines coming in at number 18. So, of course, this is one of the biggest games of the year after year. These two teams always play in the regular season finale. Michigan, as we talked about before the call, is on a 4-game win streak. They have won 4 years in a row. That would be at home twice and on the road twice. So, very impressive there. Last season, we saw Michigan pull off the upset. Overall, it did not affect Ohio State in going on to win the national championship eventually, but this season, I feel like there's another kind of, up of stakes. You know what I mean? Because, even though we saw Ohio State go on and, do what they did last season, to lose to Michigan again for the 5th year in a row with how well they've been playing, I mean, they have not lost a game since they lost to Michigan last year. So that's crazy to think about. But if they were to lose again, I don't know what kind of, vibes they would be having over there in Columbus. But I mean, they'll be fine come to the playoff. But on the other side, Michigan does need this win in order to keep their playoff dreams alive. And we'll get a little bit deeper into that as we go on. So, Tom, let me swing it over to you. Go ahead and take this one away.
Pretty much Michigan needs this win, like you said, backs against the wall if they want any chance at making the playoffs. I mean, like we talked about before on the call, which I mean, it's a lot of what ifs, but Michigan also might have a chance to make the Big Ten championship. But I think if you're Michigan, all you want to do is beat Ohio State and not make the Big Ten championship. If you're asking me what I think would be best for Michigan, because last year you see what happens to Ohio State, where Michigan beats Ohio State at the end of the season, and then they get a nice little week off. They get to rest, recover, and then end up winning the entire whole shebang, won the national championship. And their only blemish on the record was to Michigan. Like you said, though, 4 years in a row. Before that, I think Ohio State was like getting close to, maybe it was 10 years in a row. But before that, Ohio State was on a pretty dominant streak as well. So I think Ohio State gets it back this year, though. I think, it's a fun little fact, which I believe there's nobody on Ohio State's roster that would have played and beat Michigan ever. Because if they would have been if they were a redshirt freshman 5 years ago, they wouldn't have played. They just would have got to watch Ohio State win, and then 4 years after that, all years being on the team, if they played, they would have lost. But I think it's going to be a big game for Bryce Underwood. We're going to see how he plays. Last week against Maryland, had a really good game, probably Michigan's best game of the season overall, which, again, now is the time of year to get hot, especially going in playing Ohio State. Completely undefeated. Ohio State's perfect on the season. They don't need to get hot because they've stayed hot all season long. I mean, the last semi-close game they had was Illinois, and that was in early October, and it was 34-16. Other than that, I mean, they haven't even had a test beyond the first quarter, so I think Ohio State probably handles business here, but I will say it is going to be Ohio State's first real test as well. So going to be interesting to see how Ohio State handles this Michigan defense and Bryce Underwood. So that's pretty much what I think. I think Ohio State wins. I think they finally get it back. But without further ado, I'll let you finish off the video here, Cezanne.
Great analysis from you there, Tom. I agree with mostly everything you said, except for who I'm going to pick in this game, because I'm just going to come out and say it. I got Michigan. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 3 times, 4 times. I mean, until you can prove on the field that you can win in this game, I'm going to choose the team that's won 4 years in a row. I was just thinking about the game last year as you were talking, Tom. Ohio State showed up to that game 10-1. Their only loss was to Oregon earlier that season. But they were basically the same kind of gauntlet that we see this season from them, other than being undefeated. But they show up to Michigan in that last game. They basically have everything to play for: Big Ten championship, playoff seeding, home game, all of that. Michigan, I think they were 6-5, so like they already clinched a bowl game, but then also, we're not anywhere close to like a playoff or anything. So like they really didn't have anything to play for in that game last year, other than respect, and bragging rights. And somehow the 6-5 Michigan Wolverines, who had one of the worst offenses probably in team history, definitely in FBS last year. They were just terrible. Like they were scoring 10 points a game like Iowa. You know what I mean? That was Michigan last year. Somehow they go to Columbus and beat Ohio State. And now this year, Michigan has everything to play for. They're 9-2. If they win this game, they're in the playoff. I mean, there is a little asterisk because, like you said, I also agree. I would prefer not to play in the Big Ten championship if I were Michigan, if we won this game, because they already have 2 losses. So a third loss, I don't know if there has to be some conversation now. I know you made it to the Big Ten championship and you played, but you know what I mean. It gets a little iffy. So I do agree with that, but just on principle, I think if Michigan wins this game, beats the number 1 team in the country, undefeated, and they finish 10-2, doing so, I don't see how you leave them out of the playoffs. So we're gonna have to shuffle. Somebody's gonna have to come out. Notre Dame or a BYU, or somebody's gonna have to get booted out, because I don't see how you leave Michigan out at that point. So Michigan really has a great chance to just throw a whole wrench into the playoff this coming Saturday. They could really cause some chaos here. And I don't know, man. Just Ohio State, like you said, has not really been challenged this year. Or like, it's good to see them beating up on Rutgers and Purdue and Minnesota. I mean, that's nice. That's nice and all. That's what you should do, yes. But until you've really been punched in the mouth, as we've talked about before in other games, until you've been punched in the mouth, do you really know how you're going to respond? And what I couldn't even think of what Ohio State's closest game has been this year. I want to say Washington, but I think that ended up being like a 14-point win or something like that. So I don't even know. Like, has anyone even challenged Ohio State this year? I don't think so. So the fact that this will be a close game, like I don't see Ohio State blowing them out. As good as they are, like, this is Michigan, and you don't just blow out Michigan, especially at Michigan when you're Ohio State. So this is going to be a close game, I think, either way. But Ohio State's going to get punched in the mouth, and Michigan can run the ball, and they have a better quarterback this year. Their offense isn't that much better than last year, but they're better. You know what I mean? They can score, they can run, and they got Bryce Underwood now. So what happens when Ohio State gets punched in the mouth? Can they respond? Or are they going to fold because no one has done that to them this season? So they don't even know how that feels. You know what I mean? So I just think Michigan has a really great opportunity to pull off a shocker here. And I think if there was any game out of Ohio State's schedule, because they played basically nobody this year, if there was any game they're going to lose, it's definitely this one. So on the road at Michigan, your arch rivals, the team that you've lost to 4 years in a row, because it's not even about talent anymore. Ohio State was better than Michigan last year. No one will say otherwise. And they went on and proved that when they won the Natty. But somehow Michigan still won that game. So it's not even about talent anymore. It's something. It's something mental. It's some they have something on you. That's something they live in your mind, because there's no reason why you're the better team and yet you've lost to them so many times in a row. It's just there's something else going on. So some of that voodoo magic, I don't know, but I give me Michigan. That's all I'll say. Give me Michigan. I think Michigan, they know that if they win this game, that they are in. And nobody expected Michigan to make the playoff. I don't think at this point, or even any point during the season. I don't think anybody really thought they were good enough. But if they win, they're in, and they can put all that to rest. So, um, give me the Wolverines and a shocker, man. I think they're going to storm the field on this one.
Yeah, and you were right about yeah, Ohio State did lose to Oregon last year. I forgot about that one, but yeah, yeah, I like everything you said there. And yeah, I mean, Ohio State Ohio State's closest game, excuse me, was to Illinois and Washington both technically, but it was an 18-point win. So that's that's the most they've been tested. So we will see, but yeah, no, I agree, and I do agree though that Michigan, it's the same team as last year, just a little bit better. So we'll see. Going to be exciting.